gotta go. Good afternoon, everyone. I told Tom and Roger I'd like to think that this big audience was here because I was running the meeting, but I think it's all about Roger. So it's a great crowd. Welcome, everyone. My name is Janice Lenke, President-elect. Wow, we're almost there. I would just want to thank the staff because, as you can see, they're dropping seats and tables, and I know a couple of you don't have seats, so let's add another chair to these 6 tops. So if you see someone wandering around, let's just grab them and make it happen. So this is really exciting today. We have an amazing agenda. I want to first, oh, by the way, Roger has another commitment, so I need your help because we had to rework the agenda. He'll be speaking at 12:30, but we've revised the agenda, so just hang in there with us. It's going to be very exciting. But Tom Crow, I'd love to have you come up and do the invocation.
Thank you, President-elect Janice. Let us pray. We ask for God's help to give our individual gifts to our community, to give of ourselves in ways that make a difference, to keep our wits during times replete with distractions, to maintain our focus with determination, and to fuel our Rotary commitments with vigor, stamina, and a hearty spirit. We pray for our new Pope Leo. We hope he's also praying for Randy's Cubs. For all of this, we give us thanks. Amen.
Okay, Brock Frazier is leading us in song.
Thank you, and thanks to Deborah for asking me to lead today. One that we all like, we can all belt it out, is God Bless America. So, if you'll join me. God bless America. Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you. And Nancy Anderson is our Sergeant at Arms, so she's going to lead us in the pledge.
Are you ready? I pledge allegiance Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, want to go through the, you guys, you can go ahead and have a seat. If you want it, it's my meeting today, but we can go ahead and do it. I know, but I wasn't going to do it. All right, let's do it then. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Okay, want to go through the thank yous. A lot of people contributed to today. Setup was Lynn Ing and Bob Warner. Greeters were Robert Salami and Andrew. I don't know if I saw Robert. Did I miss him? Okay. Andrew Thurlow. Ticket sales, Nikki Judium and Bob Pizer. Photographer, Hank, thanks for stepping in, Hank Wan. Scribe is Aaron Campillo. Stu, thank you so much getting here early. Make sure we were set up for the audio support. And teardown's going to be Michael Williams and Elliot Harris. And on to guests, because I know we have a tremendous number of guests. Bob Warner, welcome back. We're glad to see you. I take it we have no international guest? No. He's busy buttering his bread. No international? Thank you. Okay, visiting Rotarians. I know we have Bruce McKenzie in the room. Raise your hand, visiting Rotarians.
Hi, I'm the club president from Southwest Rotary that meets about 100 feet on the other side of the building. And just here visiting, and beginning in July, I'm going to be an area governor involved with this club and mine and a couple others. And they threw in Mawapa, which I've never been to, and I haven't. So that'll be interesting. Anyway, I'm here for that, but I also want to just mention our, real quickly, our main fundraiser is May 29th. It's the gold raffle. We've been doing it for years. There's $100 raffle tickets that if you're interested, see me afterwards. We got some. We give away $10,000 in gold coins, which have gone, as you probably are aware, way up. And it's at the Ahern Hotel. And the rest of it, besides the raffle ticket, is free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Do we have other visiting Rotarians? No. Okay. We have guest Rotarians. I know we have quite a few. Look at all the hands go up. Seem to be over here, Nance.
Madam President,
Oh, thank
this
you.
is Dr. Rampur Viswanath. I'm a past district governor, proud to be a member of Las Vegas Rotary Club. It is my great pleasure to introduce my family, my sister's son, Raj, his wife, Anita, and the most recent graduate with a master's in design from Savannah, Georgia, the first daughter, and the second daughter is the aspiring administrator in India. So it is my great pleasure to have all these family members to be guests of this club. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay.
Thank you. I'm Tarby Bryant. My guest today is Lacey Stennett. She is a carpet designer for the hospitality industry. Welcome, Lacey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Stuart Lipoff here. I'm delighted to have three guests with me today. My wife, Harriet, who is giving up her weekly Mahjong game because she's such a fan of Roger Thomas. I told him we've got taluses all over the apartment, you know. And I also have two friends and neighbors with us who spend their time between their business in New York and their home here in Las Vegas, Tom Heppel and Maureen Kennedy, and they're both with us today. Thank you.
Welcome.
Tom Thomas, and I'd like to introduce my my brothers, Steve Jones, Randall Jones, and Mark Jones. When we were growing up, you were either the Thomases were part of the Jones family or the Joneses were part of the Thomas family. Steve Jones is the CEO of Merlin Contracting, builds some of the most beautiful homes throughout Las Vegas. And Randall and Mark Jones were both partners at Kemp Jones, one of the fine litigation firms in the Valley.
Welcome. Other guest of Rotarians?
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. It's past President Russ Swain here. We have a guest today, John Roberts. He's with Freedom Forever, a learning experience designer. It's the first time visiting our club today, and he saw a post of mine on Facebook and asked me and Brock about, hey, I'd like to learn more about Rotary. I said, why don't you come to the luncheon? So here he is. Welcome, John.
Hi, Bert Reiner. I have my friend David Harris.
Welcome. Any other guest or Rotarians? Wow, we got through all of them, huh? Okay, Melanie, do we have any guests of the club?
Laura Hinkle, she's over there. She's from United Way, and I think this is her third visit to our club.
Welcome back.
So,
Glad to have
thanks
you.
for being here.
Okay. And I'm going to introduce the head table. I have the honor of sitting next to our speaker today, Roger Thomas. I have past President Brock Frazier and past President Tom Thomas. And I would like us to take the microphone over to Kathy Mahon so we can say hi to our education table.
Hi, our education team actually is all over at this table today, and we're going to start with my co-education chairman, Gwen, and then lead off the table.
Gwen Hall, the liaison for Laura Deering, and my special guest is the really new principal at Laura Deering, Deborah Young.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, all of the Rotarians, for having us here today. Super, super excited. And again, my name is Debbie Young, super excited principal at Laura Deering Elementary School. And I would love to introduce to you Alexandra White. She is our positive behavior intervention specialist.
Bob Pizer, I'm pleased to announce Amanda Lush from McCall Elementary.
Good afternoon. I'm really sad. This is our last meeting until the 25-26 school year starts. We have 10 and a half days left, but no one at this table is counting. Again, schools like Deering, McCall, and Beckley cannot do our work without the community support. So thank you so much, and we will definitely be seeing you again in 25-26.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to introduce the team from Beckley Elementary, who take care of the hundreds of little eaglets that they have. Beckley eaglets, Shannon Brown and Heather Neff.
So clearly you guys can tell how my year has been. These 10 and a half days, I'm getting there every day. You guys know how much I love you. Thank you all so much for the support that you guys have given to Beckley. Our Books and Buddies program was absolutely phenomenal this year. We had so many of you guys tutoring. I got to see your beautiful faces every day. I did not see as many of you at our Breakfast with Books. So I am shaking my finger because I want to see more of you next year, okay? So again, thank you guys so much for all of your support for 25-26. I cannot wait to see your beautiful, 24-25, and I can't wait to see all of your beautiful faces in 25-26. Love you.
Thank you. Okay, and thank you, Nancy. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tom Thomas so he can introduce our speaker.
Well, as Janice mentioned at the outset of the meeting, this is going to be a lot of fun, especially fun for me. I love hearing Roger present and look back on the decades of his history. In Las Vegas, I have two identities. In my church life, I'm known as Leslie Thomas's husband. And when I go to the Las Vegas Strip, I'm known as Roger Thomas's brother. And his mark on the Strip is rather indelible, starting all the way down to the Golden Nugget and reaching to the Bellagio and most importantly, the Wynn and the Encore. His bio is in the wheel. I just want to give plenty of time for Roger and for your questions, so I will turn the time over to my much older brother, Roger Thomas.
In our family, we call Tom Thomas the senator. He is the great politician who navigates the dangerous personalities our father raised. And I want to give a special welcome to the Jones brothers. Indeed, there were 4 Thomas boys and there were 4 Jones boys, and our parents had the foresight to have one of us born at the same time as each of the other 4. So we have grown up together and remained dear friends. One of them built the best house in Las Vegas, which I lived in for 30 years, Steve, and the other 2 keep me out of trouble. So writing a book is not something that an interior designer is comfortable doing. And it was really difficult for me to get it started, but my husband Arthur said, you have to do this because your spaces all get changed. Everything in Las Vegas gets changed. And you need to mark this time in history. I am an art historian by training. I never studied interior design. I never studied architecture. So my approach to interior design has always been through the lens of art and art history. And that resonated with me. So this book, when you read it, you will find that it is a marker in time of a technique that I finally invented after nearly 35 years of doing interior design to create the kinds of spaces that I was really interested in creating and that I was interested in creating with Steve Wynn. So I had one client. I had two clients in my career, actually. I had two jobs. I opened the office of Yates Silverman, which was the noted casino hotel designer for Las Vegas in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And then in 1980, I went to work for Steve and Elaine Wynn, which of course changed my career, and I hope theirs. Our first projects were those that were always dictated by Steve's big idea. Every project we ever did was something that Steve Wynn wanted to get out of his system and see. And so we had a tropical mirage, and we had pirate ships blow up in the front yard of Treasure Island. Bellagio was an homage to the south of France, where the Wynn family was traveling, and to the north of Italy, where I spent most of my time. They all presented me with vocabularies that I could draw on for inspiration, and as an art historian, I knew how to do that. When the Mirage Resorts was sold in 2000, and I joined Steve and Elaine across the street at what was then the Desert Inn, where I grew up rolling Easter eggs every year. Or, let's see, I'm a digital incompetent, so let's. Okay. Or next door at the Sands Hotel. This is Roger and Peter Thomas with Perry and Peggy Thomas, our parents, at my 8th birthday party in the Copa room of the Sands Hotel before Frank Sinatra. I'm a kid who grew up thinking every kid goes to see Frank Sinatra. And I thought every kid in the world saw Frank Sinatra. So I had a very unique experience growing up in Las Vegas in a really privileged position. And I knew the history of Las Vegas hotels, and I didn't like it. The reason I went to work for Steve Wynn is he said, we are going to change Las Vegas, and that appealed to me. I was on my way out of town. I wasn't going to be a Las Vegan. Best laid plans. I lived here for another 40 years. So onward to Wynn Resorts. And by the time I got to Wynn Resorts, Steve said, I want something no one has ever seen before. And that meant to me that I was going to have to reinvent a language in order to express what we were going to do. I couldn't use my art historical references except for what I had learned. And by then, I had also learned that it wasn't my job to pick the most beautiful pieces of furniture and upholster them with the most exquisite fabrics and place them on the most rare stone floors surrounded by beautiful wood veneers in really wonderful combinations. My job was to create a memorable, emotional experience for every guest who came to our hotel. And I learned that what I needed to do, instead of saying, should we make it pink, blue, big, small, rough, smooth, was I needed to say, how are we going to put drama and romance and mystery and joy? Those were the things we concentrated on at Wynn Design and Development for the next 20 years. So the book, Resort Style Spaces of Celebration, is the last 20 years of a 55-year career, with the benefit of everything I'd learned the 35 years before. So we start with Wynn Resorts and the heart of Wynn Resorts and drama. So how do you give drama to a space? This is a 27-foot-long, interior-lit, crystal-decorated dragon. It happened because Steve was in Macau when Wynn Macau was finishing. being designed by another firm that was used by a new friend here, Hirsch Bedner in Los Angeles. And he walked into this room, which was the first room being finished, about 90 days before the hotel was going to open. He called me from Macau and he said, "Roger, you have to do something. This looks just like a Chinese restaurant," which of course it was. But Steve was infallible in his sense of what was right for his guests. And I knew that I had to break every rule ever created in Chinese restaurants and give him something that no one had ever seen before. For that Chinese restaurant, there was going to be a huge carved and painted wooden dragon. And I said, well, that won't do. That looks just like a Chinese restaurant. And so we invented a new color scheme in orange, lime green, and periwinkle. I flew to Macau. 2 days later, I met with this genius in Hong Kong who helped me construct this dragon in 90 days. The head of that dragon is a single pour glass that weighs 650 pounds, held up by aircraft cable. We didn't know that we couldn't do what we couldn't do, so we just did it. The ceiling, as you see, is painted a nice warm orange. I originally specified the ceiling to be periwinkle blue. It lifts spaces when you paint ceilings in a blue color. And I got a call from Macau from my team saying, we can't get any of the workmen to walk in the room. Blue is the color of death houses in South China. Okay, ask them if orange is okay. And they said, yeah, orange is great, so a new color ceiling. So we learn as we go along, but walking into a room with a 27-foot crystal dragon is certainly dramatic. Cotai Palace is still today the most expensive hospitality space on planet Earth at $4.8 billion. $4.8 billion. It's a lot of fun to spend someone else's money. And in that hotel are 8 of these private villas. There are 2-bedroom and 4-bedroom versions of this, but they're all in one color scheme. They're all completely invented. The tassels on the drapery you see are 8 feet long. Because if a tassel's good, a gigantic tassel and the drama of that is much better. The chandelier looks in scale to the room, but that chandelier is 8.5 feet in diameter. So it's about twice the diameter of what's over your head now. Yet it feels appropriate for the tall ceiling. The drapery were hand embroidered for me in Venice, which is where I live now. The sofa fabric was hand woven just off of Santa Monica Boulevard in LA, all giving us things that no one had ever seen before, and guests walking in and inhaling because of the drama. Next, please. I had a concept for Wynn Macau, our first hotel in China, for the landscape long view from the lobby to have these huge urns, and I specified them to be in carved stone, which I knew I could get because I'd used a 6-foot tall variety at the Mirage in the grounds. These are, if we could go back one, these are 17.5-foot tall. They called me and said, we cannot get a crane large enough on mainland China to lift your vases over the building and into position in the pool area. Is it okay if we cast them in bronze and gild them? Sure, that's fine with me. So these are, you can see that they dwarf, back please. They dwarf the cabana next to them. If we could go back one. There we go. They dwarf the cabana next to them. And they provide this extraordinary drama at the end of a long view. From the lobby, you look over a reflecting pool, a waterfall, another reflecting pool, and finally the swimming pool with these 17.5-foot tall urns at the end. I'm in that lobby with Steve Wynn 1 week before we opened, and he says, something's missing. Steve is always right. One doesn't question Steve. And I said, you're absolutely right. Meet me here at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I have a solution. Next, please. I had a secret source in Hong Kong that had these 7.5-foot tall 19th century, early 19th century, so Napoleon was wandering around when these were made, cloisonné camels. And I'd always wanted them, but I never had a place for them. I called him and said, if you can get that pair of camels to Macau by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I won't even haggle price. I'll pay you full price and I'll pay full transport. That night, we had the landscape department paint bricks black, and we put them in the pool. And when I met Steve at 11 o'clock the next morning, we had camels walking on water. This is about 5 days before we open the hotel. They get photographed. They become the icon of the hotel. They're the only thing anybody looks at. Hadn't thought of them until 5 days before we opened because they were dramatic. Next, please. So traveling the world twice, I would circumnavigate the globe twice, going anywhere I could to find things that were dramatic and special and unbelievable. And the chandelier in this restaurant was a standout. It was the chunkiest, most dramatic chandelier I had ever seen. It's also Napoleonic era. I found it in Belgium. I called Steve because it was really costly. And he said, well, what are you going to do with it? I said, I don't know, but I promise you magic. My next project was Encore Macau, and we created this entire bar around the restaurant. It informed everything about the room. Each of the centers of the four sides of the room had either carved glass or cut crystal. The bar you see behind it is completely lined in etched Venetian mirrors with Venetian mirrors on top with cut crystal in front of that. Because if a little cut crystal is good, everything cut crystal is better. But dramatic. And it centered the room. It made everyone want to walk into the space and see what else is in there. I had done my job. Next, please. We had a problem when we built Wynn Las Vegas that I hadn't anticipated. I was designing an extraordinary Italian restaurant for one of the world's greatest Italian chefs, Paul Bartolotta, who I saw, by the way, 2 days ago. And we have this incredible lagoon. The mountain in front of Wynn Las Vegas allowed us to put 5 lagoons behind it for various experiences. And this is the lagoon for Bartolotta. But I hadn't anticipated until I got into the lighting meetings that we had guests sitting 360 degrees around the lagoon. How do I light it without getting lights pointed in someone's eye? And the answer was, after some deliberation, you don't. You put something in the middle of the pool that will reflect light, so you don't have to light the pool. So we tethered these 24-inch diameter balls in the pool. Next, please. Very dramatic. You're all familiar, I'm sure, with the first slide that we saw of the umbrella court at Wynn Las Vegas, which was the heart of Wynn Las Vegas and has the 2 curved Mitsubishi escalators that embrace the court. Steve always wanted to know what it was going to be like if they went the other way. So when we built Encore Macau, Encore Boston Harbor, I'm sorry, we did exactly that. And they went from an embracing motion to being an e-ticket. Because as you're going up, someone else is coming down, and it's like a sidewalk cafe seeing everybody as you're coming and going. It animates the space, it creates drama. And of course, fortunately, we had this 10-foot-tall ceramic amphora by a major American artist in our arsenal, and we could park that in the middle. Great drama. Next, please. We're back at the most expensive hotel ever created, Wynn Cotai Palace, and we're in Wing Lei, which is the most elevated of the Chinese restaurants. So it's got so many Michelin stars they don't have room for them on the wall. If we can go back one. And I wanted to have that intake of breath I always love for the drama when you enter the room. And we found these 6.5-foot tall porcelain vases covered with gold peony designs, installed them, and then had our floral department create these lavish live floral displays, both at the bottom and at the top. They change every week because we have a lot of return guests. So when guests walk in, they know they're walking into drama. Next. This is one of my last projects. When I was redoing my own work at Wynn Las Vegas, the spa needed a rethink. And I had a very light-colored hallway with drapery going down the sides, and it kind of rustled as you were on your way to your massage or your other thing. And I thought that was calming and lovely. My successor had done a spa at Encore in which he said, for the big idea, no one really gets changed by the yen of a spa that plays tinkly music and has incense burning and grass wall cover on the wall. No one finds a new way of living or gets centered or finds a new life. Let's make this let's make this an opportunity for everyone feeling glamorous. And so that's what I did when I redid the spa for Wynn Las Vegas. This is that hallway with sapphire blue walls with hand-painted cherry blossoms on them and these onyx columns with the largest Pelagoso vases I could get my master on Murano to make for me. Dramatic. Next, please. Romance is very important to me. I want my spaces to be spaces of possibility. It was one of the things that I learned in those 35 years. I want my spaces to be where you feel your best self and you remember to tell the people you're with how much you love them, places that you might pop a major question. I want them to be places that you just feel so good and they're so unique that if you want to feel that good again, you have to come back. And romance is key to that. Next. This is the original Alex restaurant at Wynn Las Vegas. I'm very sorry it's not there. But this was a room that I did for Elaine Wynn. Elaine had grown up with our family. She was like my older sister, and one of the things we did a lot was go to Sun Valley, Idaho, where at the lodge dining room, you arrived at the top of the dining room and you descended into the room. And she always remembered how worth it was for her to get all dressed up, to take the effort to plan and dress up, because when women appeared at the top of the staircase, everyone in the room turned to look at them. And so we created an Elaine staircase for Alex. I'm often asked, I'm often asked what my favorite room I've ever done is, and this is it. This was the one that Elaine and I spent the most time together on. Elaine was an enormous part of everything I did. Steve didn't know this because he had dictated that everything I thought of had to go to him first. No one else could be told about it. No one else in the company could be shown it. But I would have other pretexts to go to Elaine's office, and I would always show her what I was thinking of before I showed it to Steve, and she always improved it. So romantic is a room completely covered in drapery, the soft rustle of taffeta, and that quiet you get from having drapery on all the walls of a room. But even more romantic is you have someone make silk corsages and you pin them to the drapery. So this drapery was completely covered in silk corsages, like you're going to the prom. Next, please. So I was always looking for extraordinary objects, and objects that had that certain once upon a time for them. And I think once upon a time is an important component of romance. There are two huge, if you can go back, two huge crystal obelisks on either side of this bar and a large crystal galleon. These were just being wheeled in to the flea market in Paris when Arthur and I were passing by, and I went to the flea market in Paris twice a year. I usually had 150 objects with specific places they were going. I had dimensions they had to be. I said to Arthur, gee, I wish I had a place for those. I wish those were on my list. I took 2 more steps, and I said to Arthur, no one has those on their list. There's no list in the world with 2 10-foot-tall crystal obelisks and a 6-foot-wide crystal galleon. These were made in the early part of the 20th century. They'd been in a Parisian Italian restaurant until I saw them in the early part of the 21st century, and I bought them. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. I paid 10,000 euro for the 3 pieces. I still can't believe it. It's the best bargain I've ever had. But when I was assigned to do a bar for Frank Sinatra, I knew that their Italian origins and their incredible romance and their great drama would be the perfect thing to center the bar around. Next, please. So it's easy to think of romance in a bedroom, but how do you make a bedroom more romantic? So we connived various things to do it. Lighting is very important. We always did that, and you could adjust the lights to any level next to the bed discreetly without someone seeing it, as if you're in maybe one of those movies in the 70s where the guy walks into the apartment and hit the light switch and the record player starts and the lights go to exactly the right dim and he's ready to seduce. So we did that. We had hand-embroidered silk covered on the screen behind the bed. Then we put a bed in front of it that was button-tufted in iridescent silk. We had light on the side of your face wherever we were in the bedroom because then you don't have shadows. It's the most romantic way. Again, it's a place of possibility. Next. Surprise. You always want, drama's good for that intake, but you want surprise. You want things that are so unusual that people don't expect them. Like the 6-foot wide crystal galleon, which I still find surprising to this day. Next. So this is the entrance of the Tower Suites at Wynn Macau, and we have live flowers floating on mirror. It took 6 months and lots of engineering ingenuity to figure out how to keep live flowers live while floating in air. And then we thought, well, that gives wonderful life and surprise to the environment. What else could we do to amplify that? And we put 2 huge fish tanks with rare arowana fish in them, which are considered extremely good luck. When you do something in Southeast Asia, you want to reinforce luck and abundance at every turn. So we learned that from Linda Chen, our brilliant marketing agent, when I asked her, what could I put in here that's living that's lucky? Next. This is my ode to Oscar Wilde. Some of you may remember it. This was at Encore Macau when we opened. It was called Society. And it was our 24-hour dining experience with these surprising drapery that looked like drapery, but they were actually, if we could go back one, they never touched the floor. They were suspended midair, so they were quite surprising. And then you would not expect to find a lime green chinoiserie chandelier and a Schiaparelli pink sofa below it. Surprise! When we created Encore Macau, we wanted to create an incredible atrium that you entered. This was correcting the problem we made at Bellagio when we had you go through a lobby to get to the conservatory. We should have had you go through a conservatory to get to the lobby. We fix all of our mistakes eventually. And so if we could go back one. So when I knew that we were designing this atrium at Encore, I wanted to have something surprising in the way of botanicals. This is an aloe bonsai. It's probably 150 years old. It took me 5 years to accumulate enough of them to put in the atrium. But they're surprising. It looks like a dinosaur might have just had breakfast and walked away. Next. The lobby of the Tower Suites at Encore Las Vegas. And in a residential space that you want to make everyone feel at home and like a living room, you put a painting above the sofa. Right? Correctly scaled, brings everything down. It not only locates the sofa, it makes you feel like the room is centered. In this case, the painting is across the room and the wall is mirrored above the sofa. So when you're in the room, there is a painting above the sofa, but it's not there. Next. Again, traveling the world, I discovered these amazing dragon mirrors designed and made by a chap in Paris named Viraudot in about 1890 to about 1900. He made these. And I found them all over the place. I found them in Venice, I found them in Paris, I found them in London, I found them in New York, I found them in Los Angeles, and every time I saw one, I bought it. And I finally had 50 of them. It took about 7 years, but I had this wonderful collection of these unusual mirrors. They were always made in mahogany, which was the luxury material of the time. I had them gilded, and all 50 of them are on this curved wall in the buffet at Cotai Palace. Surprise. So, all of those things are no good if you haven't considered comfort. Steve's main dictum to us, and he said it every time we had a meeting, was think like a guest. So when we were designing a guest room next, or a lobby, we thought about walking into the room. Okay, what have I got with me? I've got luggage. Where is it going to go? Is it going to roll on the floor easy enough? What am I doing? I'm waiting for someone to come and get me from the front desk. Where am I going to sit? Can a 70-year-old get out of that chair comfortably without struggling? What if you have children with you? What are they going to do? What could they damage? We went through these scenarios about every single space we did. When you're checking into a guest room. Next. When you're checking into a guest room, okay, I'm arriving with luggage. Where does the luggage go? Is there enough light to see that I'm unpacking my luggage correctly? Is the place I'm going to store my clothing from the luggage and other things close to where I'm unpacking the luggage? Where am I going to put my laptop? Where am I going to plug it in? Where's my phone going to get charged? All of those things exhaustively for days on every room, and then we built a model. This was my last model room. It was never realized. It was changed because it was a little bit extravagant. But before we built any guest room, we always built a full-scale model so that if we'd forgotten anything in those 2 or 3 days of comfort seminars, we could correct it. When men are in a room together, they will not sit on a sofa with another guy as a first choice. I don't know what it is. Straight men. Gay men will do it, as it turns out. Straight men, not so much. So when we were redoing the spa, if we could go back one, and I had put sofas in this room when we opened. It was all big club chairs, and they were far enough apart to make all you guys feel king of the world. That's comfort. It's psychological comfort. Whether psychological or physical doesn't matter to me. I need to think of it. Next. So luxury was defined to me a long time ago as being able to afford any choice you make. I disagree. I think luxury is having someone so well-traveled, so experienced, and hopefully sophisticated and tasteful make all of those decisions for you that you don't even want to think about it. It's all done for you. There's nothing you would change. That, for me, is luxury. I think Louis Couture's knew that, and so we tried to do that too. Let's go to the next. So luxury is having a sense, I think, of ceremony when you're doing something. This is dining poolside at Bartolotta. And of course, we have outdoor furniture because it's outdoors, but we have crystal and china on the table. Back one, please. And overhead, a crystal chandelier. You wouldn't expect a crystal chandelier in a cabana, but we did it. Many people have done it since, but I think we were the first. Next. Luxury is having a space where everything works well. It's easy to pull out the chair for the lady you're about to seat. Everything you want is on the table already arranged. We have acoustically moderated the room so that you can actually hear the conversation you're having at the table. All of that went into this restaurant, Wingley, Las Vegas. Next. And when you have a large restaurant, you don't want spaces that are large. We never wanted to be the biggest at Wynn. We just wanted to be the best. So whenever I created a large restaurant, I always created a way to close off part of the restaurant in case it's not filled. That's never happened. They occasionally use this now for private dining. But we have these hand-painted, gilded silk screens that go across the part of the room to close it off. And we learned that when we did the Siegfried and Roy showroom at the Mirage. Steve was terrified that we were building too many seats. He knew for Friday, Saturday, no problem, we'd fill the seats. So I designed a way to completely isolate the back third of the Siegfried and Roy Theater at the Mirage so that it always looked like we had a full house. We never had to drop the curtain. Siegfried and Roy filled the house every year. I don't even know if it functioned when they closed the Mirage anymore. Next. And when you design a bathroom for a lady, this is a ladies' only bathroom at the villas. In our villas and many of our suites, we have his and hers bathrooms. Men and women use bathrooms differently. They dress differently. They take a different amount of time. Men seldom use bathtubs. They prefer a really good shower. Women seldom use showers. They prefer a really good bathtub. So we paid attention to all of that. And in the men's version of this, there was no drapery. This is all faux ivory and beveled mirror. The men got rosewood and black lacquer. Just things that make gender differences feel comfortable. And yes, even gay men like rosewood and black lacquer. So entertainment is important in the entertainment capital of the world, but it's important in any city in the world. We all want to be entertained. We all want to be able to sit somewhere and be engaged and fascinated and hear what we want to hear and entertained. So some of the entertainment might be at a nightclub and thinking about the nightclub. I have a lot of 90-day projects with Steve. This was a 90-day project. It's in Macau. I had just finished redoing a whole series of suites in a more neutral color scheme, so all of these red lounge chairs had just arrived at the warehouse. I had just designed the mirrors that are on the wall for APF Mun, so they had a stock of them that were actually going to a furniture show. We bought them instead. And then I wanted it to be entertaining for a nightclub, and I had 90 days. So we found the guys who made the mirrored disco balls and said, how many do you have in stock? And they sent us their whole stock sheet, and we said, we'll take all of them, because that's often the solution. Thank you. Next. This is Trist at Wynn. This had been Labette when we opened Wynn Las Vegas, and after a year, it made $200,000, which was way below expectations for a nightclub. We wanted, when we originally designed it, one back, please. When we originally designed, sorry, that was persnickety. When we originally designed it, it was a restaurant that changed into a nightclub. It wasn't good at being either. So with Victor Dre, who came along board with us, 90 days, we transformed Labette into Trist. And this was make everything red. Every piece of upholstery, every piece of drapery, the wall cover, the floor cover, even the lights in the ceiling. Red, 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 red. It was relentlessly red. 40 million its first year. Because someone who knew what he was doing was working with a designer who was listening. So from 200,000 to 40 million. Good project. Next. I had this great idea for a nightclub when we opened Wynn. It was called Lure. It had little discreet areas that you could drape off so that celebrities, when they came, wouldn't be oogled and can feel secure. And it didn't do as well as our expectations. So along comes a guy named Sean, brilliant nightclub guy, and he said, the problem with this is everybody wants to be at the same party when they go out to a nightclub. So we designed the coolest living room in Las Vegas. And you could climb on, dance on, or do whatever you wanted on every piece of furniture. You could climb on the tables, you could climb on the upholstery, you could climb on the little seat we put behind the upholstery, because if you couldn't see the right thing, you could sit higher. And we made sure to make a magic figure 8 that we learned about nightclubs. When you design a nightclub, you want to make sure that if a guy sees a girl and he goes to her and asks her for a dance or anything else, if he gets shot down, he cannot walk back the way he came. He has to be able to go forward like it was his idea not to engage her and try again. So that's comfort. Next. And finally, what was arguably the most successful nightclub of the era. This is Excess at Encore Las Vegas. It was such a phenomenon that the fire department made us close 4 retail stores to build lines for waiting to get into this nightclub out of the fire exit zone. Good problem to have. That's entertainment. And this time, instead of a disco ball, that huge chandelier you see, which looks like a classic chandelier, it's completely mirrored. like a disco ball. So it was a disco ball without being a disco ball. And I sat on that banquette with Bette Midler for the opening. That's entertainment. Next. So the next nightclub we opened was Surrender, which was at the Encore Beach Club. We'd done such a good job of telling guests how to get into Encore at their porte cochere that no one used the strip entrance, which is what every hotel in Las Vegas had always paid the big money to have. So we closed the strip entrance and we put in the beach club, and we had this nightclub. And my original, I did a lot of swimming meditations about wanting to see things. I would see things as I was swimming. Until I was 35 years old, I thought all of you could close your eyes and see rooms and move furniture around in them. I didn't know that was a unique talent. So I was doing that in the swimming pool, and a thought came to me that wouldn't let go, and that was, what would leopard print, chrome yellow, and brushed stainless steel look like together? And so that's this room. And the idea was, I was thinking about, what do we go to nightclubs for? And my thought was original sin. Hence the serpent behind the bar. Next. So joy is a great component of everything. We want people to feel uplifted. We want them to leave their cares and woes. And one of the lessons I learned in art history is I never felt anything but joy in front of an Henri Matisse painting. Every time. They were all joyous. So, taking from Matisse and learning that one of the things next that always brought us joy is live flowers. I've never seen a person walk into a room filled with live flowers, unless it's a memorial, and not feel uplifted and smile. So this is the entrance to that room that had the 50 dragon mirrors at the buffet, and we have a floral shop on the left and a candy shop on the right, so that you can fill up on your way back out. And if you have to wait for your table, it's entertainment instead of just waiting. Next. Back to Wing Lei at Cotai Palace. Again, the festivity of those flowers at the entry, but it was a room that's all gold and cream, and I wanted to make it more joyous. And so another thing that's highly valued in Asia is jade. So I took a piece of imperial emerald green jade and sent it to Samuel & Sons in New York, for whom I designed passementerie. And we came up with all of these huge green tassels to decorate lanterns that are my version of a Chinese. I've always loved Chinese lanterns. I'll string them anywhere. But this was a more formal room, so we made them out of polished brass. And then we found a wine glass that was exactly the color of the imperial jade to bring the color to the table. Very joyous. Who doesn't love a merry-go-round? Who can be upset or depressed while riding on a merry-go-round? No one I know. Preston Bailey, who is one of the greatest event planners on the planet, I met through a designer who helped us with a restaurant named Vincent Wolf, who did the SW originally. Our most enduring and successful restaurant. So Preston helped us create, these were built in Las Vegas by Scott Acton at Forte, helped us create these mechanical merry-go-rounds completely paped in what we came to call preserved botanicals, silk flowers. And they're joy from the moment you encounter them until you leave. Next. Mystery. So if I want my guests to come back time after time, I need to give them something to discover each time they come. And I found the secret was to layer things, to do so many layers of detail that they couldn't possibly absorb it all on the first visit. And when they came back, they'd find something they hadn't seen. For instance, in this one, we have fish swimming on either side of this mosaic, marble and glass mosaic path. And then that chandelier is actually about 9 feet tall overhead. And you want to look at the chandelier, and when you do, beyond it is 57 stories of wind tower. Next. This is in Encore Boston Harbor, and we're looking down at the elevator lobby. So when you arrive at the elevator lobby, you have these red Venetian glass chandeliers cascading through a hole in the floor. What's up there? And finally, this is the meeting and convention space for the Wynn Palace Cotai. And we started with Wynn Las Vegas having a genius floral designer named Paige Dixon. And Paige Dixon was the mentor of Jeffrey Latham, who changed the history of hotel flowers. He was the florist at the Georges V, and the Georges V flowers became the third most visited attraction in Paris. Arc de Triomphe, Eiffel Tower, Georges V flowers. More visited than the Louvre, for instance. And Jeffrey became a good friend of ours, and he would spend his vacation when we were opening a hotel, designing the flowers. So in this case, it was about abundance. And you can see that the flowers are not only huge in scale, but they pour onto the floor around your feet. So that's how we did it, in a nutshell.
Thank you, Roger. We've got still have a meeting to go with, so I'm going to turn the time over to Janice. But our senior statesman in this club, Jerry Engel, wanted to take a moment to say a few things because he's known Roger since Roger did the interior of his house in 1976 when I was a senior in high school. So, Jerry?
Roger, anyway, I'd like to think that...
Jerry, did you want to come up here?
Oh, sure.
While you're making your way up here, I'm going to present you, Roger, with our Soul Power Award. We will be called Happy Feet, so we'll be donating a pair of shoes in your name, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Roger, I wanted, when I saw you were going to be a speaker, I wanted to come up and say how much I appreciate being associated with your family, because I go back a few years with your family, as you know. Your father, well, I came here in '53 when there were 30,000 people living here.
So did I.
And your father came down from Salt Lake City, and he opened a bank along with Nate Mack, Jerry Mack. And so I remember it growing, and then in 1960 to 68, Governor Grant Sawyer, he was our governor. He appointed your dad and me to the Nevada State Board of Finance. And then, let's go fast forward. I just remember that the five of you, you're four boys and one girl, the youngest one. I don't know much about Jane, but I do know that Peter went on to be a banker. You went on to be a decorator, and I'd like to think I helped launch your career because you decorated my home in 1976. And I still have one of the chairs that you put in the house. Anyway, let's move on to your brother Stephen, who is an orthopedic, and I was an avid skier, and he did 6 arthroscopies on my knees so that I could continue skiing for years. And then came Tommy. And Tommy, well, what can I say about Tommy? He's not a banker, he's not a lawyer. He just runs the Thomas and Mack empire. And Tommy, I remember 1976, I was going to go skiing with Steve Wynn in his private jet flying up to Kansas, to North Canada, to do the Canadian Rockies, and I get a call from Perry. He says, Jerry, or I got a call from Steve. He says, Jerry, I got to bump you off the plane. I said, why? He says, well, Perry Thomas called me and he wanted to send Tommy Thomas, who wanted to go skiing. Anyway, I had to go commercial, but I still went. But anyway, skiing with Tommy was a lot of fun, but I was always upset with you, Thomas. But I want you to know you become such a mensch, and Jewish mensch is a man, and I watch you mature into such a mensch that I'm not angry at you anymore.
I love that, Jerry, that your shirt matches, I think, Surrender nightclub. I think he really cued this up very well. So thank you again for being here. We're going to have you guys, we're going to go to announcements, and we need to move kind of fast. I'm sorry there's no opportunity for questions. Roger was kind enough to leave 3 books, so don't throw your tickets out. We are going to raffle one, and if we have time, we're going to auction the other 2, so stay tuned for that. Okay, can you take the microphone over to Tony?
No, this is for someone different. Fellow Rotarians and guests, it's that time of year again when we close out and celebrate the end of the 2024-25 Rotary year that will take place, and President Kirk is going to present and pass on the baton to President-elect Janice Lenke after a little water fun. The celebration that we're talking about is our debunking. It will include food and beverages. It will take place, as a matter of fact, at Jerry Ingles' home on Thursday, June 19th at 6 p.m., and that's over in the Queens Ridge area. Please be sure you sign up in the Green Book. We just started with it today, so we already have people who have signed up. Members are free. Guests are $60. Any members interested in participating in the Everlasting Skit, which is the highlight of the night, please reach out to our Skit Committee, who is made up of distinguished past presidents. That is, past presidents Randy Donald, Jim Cole, Tom Krob, Jim Hunt, or Russ Swain if you're interested in participating. Also, we are looking for members to help with the cleanup to put Jerry's backyard, which is where it will be held, back into order, and those interested can please reach out to myself or Sean Norda. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys, we need to move it along. We still have the 50-50 and another quick presentation. So thank you, Tony. Let's take the microphone to Bob Pizer.
Very quickly, Wetzel Awards this afternoon to honor 5 airmen from Creech and Nellis Air Force Base. We'll meet at 2:30 East Craig Road and Las Vegas Road. So meet us at 2:30. We start at 3 o'clock promptly. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Mike Kudamont, is he here? Yes, thank you. I know you have several announcements, starting with Super Bill.
So last weekend, the Super Bill was done. There were 43 Rotarians that were there in Tecate, Mexico, and 5 from LVRC, so we're very glad. So we did make a house for the family. It was very successful. The second announcement, 2 weekends from now, we're gonna do our beach cleanup, May 17. For those who sign up, you will get emails on the directions and stuff that we're gonna do there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Rosalie.
Hi, everyone. Is this working? There
Yes.
we go. Hi, everyone. I just really want to thank everybody who donated to West Care and provided the suits. It's been very helpful to them. They're overjoyed with all of them. Leo wanted to say a quick thank you as well. And for those of you who have stuff that is in your vehicles, Leo will meet you at your cars afterwards so that he can take some additional items to them. But thank you, everyone. Really, really appreciate your support.
Thanks, Rosalie. Okay, hang in there with us, guys. Some exciting things happening in a few minutes. I'm so sorry.
Just wanted to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. I will put together some slides and some pictures for you to see. And I also will bring next week, I'll bring some donation receipts to anybody that's already donated so you can have those for Uncle Sam.
Thank you. Sorry to cut you off. Okay, real quick. We have a special presentation. Tony Kern.
Everybody's congregating, so I'll still start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Past President Richard Jost, membership co-director John Pally, and I had the honor of being part of the very first Las Vegas Rotary Law School scholarship, in which 2 well-deserving law students were selected to each receive a $3,000 scholarship. The scholarship was open to second, third, and fourth year law students at UNLV to be used at the UNLV William S. Boyd School of Law, and required a resume, a record of community service, a transcript, a letter of recommendation, a letter of financial need, and an essay with an idea that their legal career, excuse me, I'm not wearing my reading glasses, be consistent with our mission statement, teaching youth to succeed through literacy, education, and life skills development. There were 13 applications received, from which the top 7 were reviewed and taking into consideration all 5 categories, and then the top 3 applicants participated in a virtual interview with John, past President Richard, and myself. We are absolutely delighted today to have the most impressive law students with us here today, with past President Richard and John, each introducing a scholarship recipient. Following the introduction, each recipient will have a moment to share a word with you about their intended legal career. Who's going first? Hit it.
All right, thank you, Tony. So I'm going to be presenting Hayden Suter, and before I go on, all I can say, when I was in law school, my motto was, see you at graduation. And so reading all of their applications was very eye-opening. Hayden started her essay with a quote, "The most important thing an institution does is not to prepare a student for a career, but for life as a citizen," which I thought was very appropriate for a Rotary scholarship. She's done a ton of community service stuff, in particular We the People, the Nevada Equine Assisted Therapy, and other things. Went to UNR for undergrad, and then at UNLV currently, all kinds of dean's list, top of the class, and all kinds of other stuff. I will not bore you with that, but I will present Hayden now to say a word.
Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Hayden. I am very excited to be here with you all today. And I guess I'll just talk about a little bit of the career that I want to go into. So like John said, I volunteered with the We the People program, and I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but it's kind of a civic education class and competition for K through high school students, but I volunteered at the high school level. So I actually competed in this program when I was a senior in high school, and it essentially simulates a mock congressional debate. So you prepare testimonies on constitutional democracy, pretty much, and then you go and you present it in front of judges, and the judges ask you lots of questions, they cross-examine you. And I fell in love with this program, and it made me want to pursue a career in law. So all through college, I returned back to my high school, and I was a volunteer coach for these young kids. And then recently, in January, Boyd helped host the state We the People competition, and I was honored to be a judge there. So I got to go back and help a little more. And so We the People really made me want to pursue a career in law. And as of right now, I am hoping to pursue a career as a criminal prosecutor. So I will be at the Carson City District Attorney's Office this summer. We'll see if I like it. But I intend, while I'm a prosecutor, to continue to go back to We the People and to continue to volunteer and be really involved with that program, because it helped me so much and helped me develop so much. And I see the significance and importance of it, and the importance of imparting civic education on these young kids. And so I thank you all so much for this wonderful, wonderful opportunity and this amazing scholarship. And it couldn't have been possible without all of you and without the scholarship committee as well. So thank you.
before I introduce Heike, I want to go on record. I know a lot of people say if you give a lawyer a microphone, you better have a pillow and a sleeping bag ready. We have 5 lawyers up here, and we're going to be quick. Heike is going to be graduating at the top of her class from Boyd Law School. She has a job offer from one of the largest international law firms in the world, and presumably would have an opportunity to make enough money to go shopping with Roger Thomas. But she's going to turn that down to work with kids. And so the fact that we're giving her a scholarship to make that possible, I think is a tremendous, tremendous honor. So I'll let her tell you.
Hi everyone. I'm gonna try not to be shaking up here. So I'm Heike. I grew up in poverty with a single mother, and the only reason why I feel like I didn't fall through the cracks is because I had really good mentors, and I had a really great support system from teachers and from people around me. And so before I went to law school, I started doing legislative research on how to help kids within Las Vegas and broader Nevada. And I really enjoyed doing what I had to do. So when I decided to go to law school, I was at a crossroads. Do I go and do this big law job that I get to see money that I've never seen before in my life, or do I do something that I'm really passionate about? And so I worked at the Federal Public Defenders and got to work with kids, as well as the Clark County Public Defenders who represented juveniles who were seeing themselves in the system a lot because they didn't have the opportunities that I had in terms of the mentorship. And so for me, I saw what that could have happened to me, and I really wanted to better support kids like that who really do deserve better and deserve the opportunities that I received. So I am very, very grateful for places like the Rotary Club and other types of institutions that help me to pursue that type of passion. And to really give back to the community here that has helped me get to where I am today. So thank you all so much for supporting a first-generation college student and now professional graduate student, and I will be graduating in 2 weeks. So thank you all so much.
It was truly an honor to have this as a first time doing higher education and these wonderful young ladies. And on behalf of the club, we would like to also present each of them with a copy of our Centennial book, which will in some way remind them of our involvement in their career. Thank you.
Rita, I think I'm going to need 2 more tickets. We're not going to have time to do an auction. We're going yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do them. You know what? We'll hold on to them for next week. We'll add to that spring fundraiser. Okay. Thank you, Tony and John and Richard. Okay, let's go ahead and do the tickets. The first ticket is for a shot at the Joker. It is ticket 6781785. This would be a great gift for the summer.
When you said shot, I was hoping it was a shot.
Let me give you a hug.
Good to see you.
Okay. Now, if you get the Joker, don't yell really loud.
I'm going to try not to, but I'm a very...
Okay, you can yell. Oh my God, I can't even believe that just happened with all those cards. Oh my God, what a great summer you're going to have. Okay, hang in there with me, guys. The next ticket, and remember, leave them out. That is unbelievable. This is for the Lowry Bucks. I'm sorry, my ears are, hold on. What's the pot amount? Somebody help me? 1,300, yes. Half goes to the foundation, half goes to you, but I know you're so grateful, so congratulations. Okay, 678-1730 for the Lowry Bucks. 678-1730. Okay. Need one more ticket, Rita. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this next. It was 1730 or 1785. That's you. Okay. We don't need it now. Somebody woke up. Lynn. Here you go, girl. Congratulations. Don't ding me for being over today. Okay. The next ticket is for one of Roger Thomas's books, and he has signed it. 678-1676. Tom Thomas, do you have the ticket? Okay. Woo! Okay, Nancy, can you hand this to Eric? Thank you so much. Congratulations. Okay, I'm going to pull Dan. Hang in there, guys. We're getting ready to do the raffle, the 50-50. I'm going to have Dan and Brian come up.
And we found a disinterested third party. Ika, come on up. She's going to press the button for the randomizer we'll see who wins our 50-50 raffle. So we're going to do it next time. Okay. And give the presentation because we don't know who it's going to be. So not yet, just hold tight. I wanted to thank everybody for your participation in our fundraiser. And it's going to go to a very good cause and to the schools and the kids and to our mission statement. So anyhow, thank you all for participating. Brian, got anything to say?
No, thanks everybody. Yeah, I guess I do. I said no. Thanks everybody who've participated. I think this is a good kickoff to a new way to do our fundraiser. And next year, just make sure and send it around. Friends, family, everything. Everybody's got a chance to win a big pot, and everything else goes to Rotary. So all good.
So now we are going to have Ika, whom you know. She's going to, click on it, and we're going to see who the winner is. Oh, so close to Tom. Tom Thomas! He's the big winner! He's the big winner! He's here, too. How amazing. Tom, would you like to say a couple of words?
Tell you what, it all goes to Santa Claus.
What a gracious, charitable person you are. Love you.
Thank you guys for your support in the club. Oh my gosh, we're only over 3 minutes. Don't hold it against me, guys. It was a fun meeting. I hope you enjoyed today. A lot of great stuff. Congratulations to all of our winners, and meeting adjourned.